Black, gay, dad, poppy.
To another episode of Single Black Gay Dad. I have a very important person on the line today, my amazing surrogate, which I will call Jay. How many children do you currently have, and what are their ages?
I have two children. One is 11 and the other one is turning 6 in 3 days.
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday to her. What made you want to become a surrogate?
I've always enjoyed being pregnant. I definitely just didn't want to have any more of my own kids. And when I realized that this is something I could do to help other people, I was totally on that.
Was it hard to find an agency that you liked? Like, did you go through various different agencies, or was it the first agency you found was a match?
So yeah, this is going to sound a little, weird, I guess, but it just happened to be an ad I saw on Facebook. Everybody's always complaining about ads on Facebook and stuff, but that's how I ended up finding it. And it was the first agency I saw. I contacted them. They were like, yeah, this sounds great. You sound like you might be a good fit. You filled out the questionnaire and everything else. And then, yeah, she matched me up with some people, and that was great. It was pretty quick and easy.
Exactly, right? Was there an issue with you being an Alberta surrogate where this agency was focused in Ontario?
I was told that actually most surrogates are like pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
To prefer the Ontario surrogates because there's less traveling involved.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
A lot of them are from, BC or Alberta mainly because of the laws involved.
Yeah, well, that's what my lawyer told me also. So that's when I started to expand and think outside of Ontario, because Ontario, there wasn't very many options. So I was like, I need to expand my horizons or I'll be stuck on a waiting list for years to come.
Yes.
Was your spouse, your family, and friends supportive of your decision to be a surrogate? Like, was there any pushback? Like, how did everyone take it when you told them?
I don't really feel like it changes our lives a whole lot. Jake was more like, why do you want to do this? And I was like, I got the privilege to be a mom and stuff, and it would be great if somebody else could do that, if I could help them. And he was pretty understanding. My spouse is always, and still is very 100% supportive, does everything.
Aww,
so he's great. I've never had no problems with him.
Right? He's a great guy.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yep. What fears did you have about becoming a surrogate?
More that there would be more complications, because my pregnancies were pretty easy, right? And I never had a C-section.
Yeah.
So I was more afraid that, if I was going to have a C-section, and how was that going to end up and everything else, right? Because I've never gone through it.
Well, that was my fear also. I was like, oh, Lord, I feel terrible if you didn't have to go through that with your own children, then had to go through that with mine.
See, and I don't want to sound like terrible saying that, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, for someone else's children. But, I mean, that's basically what you sign up for, right? That's the risk you're willing to take, so...
Exactly. It could go either way, even in a singleton pregnancy. We were lucky with the twins that they both were vaginal.
That's right. To this day, I get people, super surprised about that. They're like, what do you mean you didn't have a C-section? And I was like, nope, they came out just fine.
And they're also shocked that they're 18 minutes apart. They're like, why so far apart? I'm like, because they were vaginally.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just plopping them right out.
Yeah, my sister, her sister on her mom's side had twins, and the first one was vaginal and the second one was C-section. I was like, that is horrific.
Oh, I can't imagine you doing one way and then having to cut them open anyways. You should have just started with the cutting. No.
Both ways, that's horrible. The worst case scenario ever.
Yes, for sure.
What did you look for in an intended parent?
I'm pretty easygoing that way, so I kind of just lean towards whatever Jackie mentioned or what she thought that I might go for. Mm-hmm. But then when we actually did the matching phase and stuff, I wanted to make sure that our values matched up. It wasn't going to be a whole bunch of fighting. And, I don't mind people being so laid back, but it worked out 100% with us where we're both, organized and, all right, we're doing this right now. This is what's going on. Let's go.
Yeah, because with me, I'm very easygoing too, but I think when it comes to stuff as serious as this, I couldn't have been matched with someone who was lackadaisical, who's just like, oh, whatever. It's like, no.
Yeah, the clinic will just call me whenever they feel like it. It's like, no, get your butt on it now.
Right now, this is urgent. This needs to happen tomorrow. That wouldn't have worked.
Exactly.
Because I'm so anxious, so I would have probably freaked out if that was the situation. So we were literally a perfect match because we both are anxious and we both wanted things done when we wanted it done. So that works out in our favor. Yeah. What were the hopes for the children that resulted from the surrogacy you went through?
Pretty much the same for my own kids, that they live happy, healthy lives, and, you guys do great by them, and as long as I still get updates from them, and, from everything that I've seen so far, they look amazing. If anything, they got a better life than I do.
Well, better life than I had growing up, honestly.
Yep, that's the thing. Every child I carry, and even my own, I just hope that they have a better life than I did growing up.
Yeah, that's my hope. If you're a parent, why not give your child a better life than you? It's not, what's the point, right?
That's right.
So I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask for the viewers anyways. Would you ever be a surrogate again? Why or why not?
I'm in the process again, and I'm hopefully going to transfer next week for a wonderful couple.
Wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that.
I want to keep doing it until I can't do it no more.
Until the doctor says no more?
Yeah, or, David decides that he doesn't want anymore. That's fair, too.
That's exactly. But do you know when they usually say what's the max amount of pregnancies that you're allowed to go through?
I think as long as there's no complications or anything, and you don't have C-sections, you can basically keep going.
Oh, okay. I think
for C-sections or whatever, it's 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought I heard the number 6 floated around somewhere. I don't know where I got that from. I think it was a surrogacy board years ago that some doctors after the 6th pregnancy they're usually okay, now you need to stop.
Oh, okay. Well, that might be the case, too. I just haven't really looked it up.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see. Or whatever the agency's protocol is, fertility agency, they might say yes or no based on when they look at your history and say whether they're comfortable proceeding or not. Would you ever carry twins again?
Yes, I would love to have someone ask me for twins again. It's just harder now. Most people are either afraid of the medical complications or whatever. So it was really great that, me and you matched up very first shot because that's what I wanted and that's what you wanted and we both fought for it. And
yes. We fought tooth and nail because a lot of agencies and our agency did not want to do that. We had to sign off on waivers and stuff to make that happen. And I'm glad that it happened, although the downfall was having to be on bed rest for 8 weeks, but everything worked out in the end.
Yeah, and we got super lucky that we did the 2 embryos and they both caught on the first try, and everything just lined up 100% perfect.
1,000%, and I still when I tell this story, I'm still in shock to this day, and people are just like, "What? You didn't have to go through multiple tries?" I'm like, no.
Very lucky.
Very, very lucky. How was the overall experience for you, from us matching to birth and after? How was that for you?
I very much enjoyed it actually because it's a lot more. There's more monitoring going on, right, than a regular pregnancy. So every 2 weeks, and I'm sure you were excited too, right? We got to see the ultrasounds and the baby's moving, and then you got to see the growth in just 2 weeks instead of maybe just the one ultrasound for the whole pregnancy. So it was just very exciting to hit all of those milestones and see everything going on, and it was great. It was a little bit of a drag, obviously, being stuck in the hospital by myself for 2 months without my kids. But
that was I could never repay you in love and admiration after that. I felt horrible, but I was so happy that I found the right person who was as serious about the children's health as I was, and everything worked out. You know what,
so that made both my kids grow up, and it made my spouse really step up, the freaking love and everything for him, from working, and then he did the daycare, and he was the only parent at home, single parent for 2 months. Amazing.
Because people discount what mothers and single parents do. They're just yeah, it's nothing, until they have to do it. It's wow, I really appreciate all that you're doing because I had to go through this alone.
Yeah, exactly. And especially where, it's for your babies as well, right? It's not even oh, well, these are our babies that we're carrying for us. So it was even, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it was a scary situation, but I'm glad that everything works out in the end, and you listened to the doctor's orders, and the doctor knew what he was doing, and overall, it didn't sound like the worst experience other than missing your kids, because it sounded like you made friends in the hospital, and sounded like you made the best of it as much as you could have.
Yeah, we definitely relaxed a lot, so that helped.
Right? And I'm sure it didn't hurt to not have to make meals every day and worry about those other things.
Yeah, basically just sit in bed all day, and you're like, oh,
Right?
no, it's the worst thing ever. And then you start catching up on your shows and reading, and you're like, maybe this isn't the worst thing ever.
Right? It's like sometimes we need to recharge and shut down from everything for a little while and just relax. Because we, like, especially like before the pandemic and stuff happened, all were like on the go, 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 go. And then like this forced us to stop and like slow down a bit. But I'm glad that the kids were born before all this mess, because it sounds like a disaster right now to be having children and be dealing with that, or being in the hospital with all the lockdowns and not having your partner be able to come and all that. So it sounds like a disaster at this point. So
I got lucky last year, but then we'll have to see what happens this year.
well, yeah, because your province is on fire, so I can only imagine what's going to happen with that. Because even with work, we're supposed to go back tomorrow or this week, and Alberta, they just announced that the Alberta office, like, they're not going back at all right now because all that's going on. So I'm like, oh, why can't that be Ontario? I don't want to go back.
Well, I mean, I've been working throughout the whole pandemic, right? Grocery stores are essential, so.
Yeah. So what are the benefits to being a surrogate? Like, what were the overall, like, good things about it?
I think you just get to grow your family, like, depending on, you know, what kind of, obviously, agreements and everything and how you guys want your surrogacy stuff to go. Like, if you don't want to talk to the family or whatever, then that's your choice. But that was one thing that I was looking for, you know, being able to still connect with everyone and see these kids grow and stuff like that. That's what I wanted. Yeah,
because it's like, even like, I consider you their aunt. Like, you carried them and they'll always know you as Auntie J, and you know, like our family is extended, and even amongst the Eggdonor, which is their mother, like having that side of the family too. Like, it's like my family grew like 3 times in this one little experience.
That's right.
It's crazy how life works out. So on the flip side of that, what are the downfalls of being a surrogate? Like, what are the things that people who are considering it need to be aware of, or possible things that can happen?
Well, I mean, you got to consider, like, all of the medical parts of it, right? And, like, especially if pregnancies for you weren't so great, then obviously you're going to have to deal with all the symptoms that come with that. And every pregnancy is different as well. Like, you know, yours could have been perfect, and then you do any other pregnancy, even if it was your own, and it could be absolutely wretched, and you wouldn't know before you got pregnant, right? So then you don't have to deal with all of that.
Yep. You got to take it as it comes, because it can all be different.
Right.
One can be very good, the next one could be very bad. How was the transfer procedure? Was it painful? Was it easy? Was it quick? Was it fast? Slow? How was it for you?
It was quick, and, you know, his bedside manner, like, everybody complains about it, but I love him. He's amazing. He's just does his job, and he does it right, and let's just get in, get out, and that's great. Like, that's all you really need from him, right? He doesn't need to sit there and chit-chat with you and whatever
and be your friend. No.
Exactly. Just do your job.
Exactly. He's straight to the point. That's what I love about him. He's just very blunt. It can hurt a bit, but it's sometimes it's stuff that you need to hear. So
that's right.
I'm not mad at it. I'm like, was the end result what you wanted? That's all that matters.
Yeah. The only thing, I did get, like, a little bit of PTSD because with the clamps, he ended up pinching me. So now every time I do a transfer, I'm like, can you be really careful not to pinch me now?
I hear that. Do you feel a connection to the twins when you were carrying them, or any of your surrogate children that you carried? Like, was there a connection, or were you able to separate and feel like, I'm carrying this for someone else? Like, what was that for you? Oh,
mine's always, every one that I've carried so far has always been like, oh, this is cool. Like, I love it when I can feel them moving around and everything else, and like hiccups and stuff, but never once am I like, yeah, these are my babies.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have that mindset of going in like, no. So it'd always be great. And I remember texting you and be like, they're moving or kicking, and, you know, it's exciting. I love feeling that stuff. That's one of the best parts for me. But yeah, definitely not like.
And I think if it was you or someone, I feel like it was you that was saying that it was a new experience for you because you got to share in that excitement that I guess your children's father wasn't, like normal men, like they're just like, okay, whatever, whereas like someone else was equally as excited as you, I guess?
Yeah, it's because David's never had any kids, right? So when he came in, Joel was already 1, so he didn't get to feel any of that pregnancy stuff. So it was nice, like when they were feeling kick and stuff, I'd be like, here, come and give me your hand, and he'd be able to like feel all that stuff. So it was good for him as well because, that was a whole new experience. Like I said, he's used to babies, but never having anyone pregnant. Yeah.
Okay. And how were the best and the worst in there? Like, who kicked the most? And and stuff in your belly?
I think just because he was always squished down there, right? Just not, or, you know, her on top and stuff, but it was just from the pressure going down. Like, kicking-wise and stuff, they were pretty even. I might have felt deny more on top just because there's less skin, right? There's more fat at the bottom. But there wasn't really like one causing more problems than the other, I would say. Just, you know, it's cramped in there, right?
I feel like their personalities in utero match their personalities in life, like, but they're always switching in their, like, how they are. Like, Braxton's very serious, but he's also very loud and very playful, and Janai's usually chill, but she's the mischievous, quiet one. So she's not as quiet as she used to be, but
well, that's still, how they came out.
Literally. And they both are still not morning people. They both hate mornings and getting up early, so that hasn't changed either. What was your initial impression of me when we met or connected? Like, what was your first thought when we were matched?
Well, I mean, me and you talked quite a bit before we ended up meeting and stuff, so pretty much what I thought you were going to be is what you ended up being. There's none of that in the back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get what you get.
Yeah. Well, I felt like our very first time matching, like, I felt like it was like we were friends. It didn't feel awkward at all. Like, it was just like we'd known each other for years. That very first conversation was like for hours. Like, so like I started with like 2 or 3 in the morning until it was like, okay, we got to go to bed.
Yeah, I remember us being like, is this what we're doing? Like, are we matching? And we were like, oh, we already thought we did match. And
yeah, you're like, I remember you messaged me. You're like, because I didn't say anything. I just assumed that we matched, and then you hadn't heard anything. So you were like, are you interested or not? I'm like, of course I'm interested. What do you mean? It was the funniest thing ever. I was like, I didn't know I had to say something because like we both had never been through this before, so we didn't know what the protocol was. But we're like, I thought that's what that meant. What is your advice for aspiring surrogates? Like anything that you want them to know?
I mean, you know, just find a good set of parents that your values match up and everything else, right? Personalities match up and stuff. I think that's the biggest thing because they may or may not be your biggest support. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And, you know, they're really, even if the clinic isn't great, if your parents are good, then it really works out.
Well, exactly, because that's what you've gone through with other clinics, that it not being so great, but as long as you're both on the same page. And sometimes the parents can give the clinic a nudge, like, hello, do this. Because I feel like sometimes they may or may not take the surrogate seriously, but when the parents who are paying for everything are like, you're pissing my surrogate off or you're making things not work the way they need to, they can usually light a fire under them. Is there anything that you would have done differently in this process or any of your surrogacy processes? Do you have any regrets about anything or anything that you know now that you would have done differently?
No, not more past-wise, but more like learning experience to take forward, which is what I'm doing now, right? But if I were to ever, like, have twins again, I'd probably be like, you know, I carried these twins to term last time, and I don't need to stay in a hospital, you know what I mean? Like, I'll just stay home and I'll be fine. Like,
yeah.
So just some future experience. I know what I can handle and pretty much how the process goes and stuff, so it makes it a little bit less anxious because I know what's coming.
Exactly, because you've been through before.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're very, very busy, and I thank you for taking the time. Appreciate you. I thank you again for the amazing gifts in plural that you've given me, who I love beyond belief. And thank you for our friendship, and I'm so glad that we are still in touch and everything is great. And thank you once again. So everyone else, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the process, definitely ask me questions below in the comments. Thank you for tuning in to Single Black Gay Dad, and I will see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now.